I could give like a one tip, like for people struggling with a flash and like having situation, I think this is a very common situation.
Wow.
Hi, Taylor.
How about that intro? Are you hooked? I am hooked. We're both hooked together. I'm joined today by Magic. He is a Sony ambassador of Europe. He is a wonderful human being. We've traveled to the great city of Civita, Bagnoregio together.
Civita di Bagnoregio.
And we've had pasta.
Signora.
Today, we're going to be talking about Flash. We did have Patish.
Yes.
If you're watching the YouTube video right now, you can see the Patish. It's on the screen. It was wonderful. That's a full video somewhere.
Somewhere.
I'll link that in the
over the rainbow.
Top. Today we're here to talk about Flash because Magic is a wonderful Flash man. I first saw you using Flash at the Way Up North closing party. And
yes, you did.
You were out on the dance floor, you were having a fun time, and you were making incredible images. And I want to talk to you a little bit about that. But first, though, you're coming to Canada for Canada Photo Summit.
I am.
Which is pretty exciting. So
I am very excited.
And at the time of recording this, there are still, I think, 9 tickets available. So
use code MAGIC at checkout.
There is no room for a code. We've been through this.
Come on.
Okay, you can type Magic in somewhere. And
yeah, exactly.
But Magic is making the trip from all the way from Poland to Canada to talk to you about Flash. So pretty exciting time. What is your strategy for Flash?
Yeah, the Way Up North party that we've been. We actually can link probably the slideshow if you want to see the final result. But with Flash, for me, it's just like with everything else the way I try to approach things is to be a part of it and have fun, right? So when I'm at the wedding, like the best scenario for me is when I'm shooting my friend's wedding because I can just, chill and hang out. So my goal with my clients is exactly the same. I want to approach it the same way.
Was that a plug for your merch? Can I buy that, or is that a sticker?
You can't. That's a sticker.
That's a one-of-a-kind.
I'll bring the stickers to Canada. So for those of you who type Magic, you get the sticker. Yeah. So yeah, with clients, I want to have exactly the same experience. Like if I'm able to have fun while I'm working, it's not work anymore, right? That's the ultimate rule, isn't it? The question for you: how often do you stay at the wedding, let's say until midnight, or 1 a.m. or 2 a.m.?
Never. My coverage window, so I guess this is also, this differs, I think, massively from Poland. And I think that also the US, so the weddings I've been to in the States, they typically end around like maybe 10 or 11, that there's a dance floor, and then it moves to the after party at that point. Canada is somewhere in the middle. I think we're done around like midnight or 1 a.m. most of the time. Mm-hmm. And I am usually out of there maybe 10 songs into dancing. So I don't really get bored to start doing things that maybe I wouldn't normally do. I do the coverage that I typically do. When I was into concert photography, all I did was like off-camera flash, and I would be there until the end of the night. Mm-hmm. But now I'm stuck in my way. So educate me how I can do better Flash.
I think
work.
that's how it started for me. Because here the wedding coverage usually, like traditionally, you stay until 1 a.m. and the reception with like the evening part starts around 7, sometimes 6, sometimes even like very traditional parts of Poland, which is South Poland, that I've never actually shot, like these ultra traditional weddings. They have like ceremony at 12 and like 1, 2 p.m. they start reception, and like 4 p.m. they're already drunk on the dance floor until 4, 5 a.m. So they're like literally 12 hours just partying. And then they have a quick break, and then they do like the after party next day, which is basically eating all the leftovers and continue to party. And so that's like ultra tradition, yeah. But like usually the normal traditional weddings, conventional weddings here, I would say the reception would start around 7, but then like it's all about eating super quick so you can just go on the dance floor. And people start dancing around like, let's say 8 p.m. And then at midnight, there is tossing of bouquet and sometimes games around that. And at midnight there's cake. So we wait for the cake, the big cake moment. Cake is coming with like the sparklers and stuff like that. So it's like, ooh, cake! Everyone's waiting for the cake. Then there's the games, tossing the bouquet, and then usually the coverage ends, which is around 1 a.m. Mm-hmm. So when you think about that, you get to stay there while people are dancing for at least 4 hours. Sometimes even 5, sometimes 6. Like it's a majority of time that you spend on the wedding day. You spend actually looking at people dancing and, you know, capturing this. So when you have that much time, you're just like you said, you're just bored so much that there's like multiple ways that you try to make something fun out of it. So you're trying different methods. So it's very popular here. Actually, that with wedding photographers, they do like 5, 6 off-camera flashes. It's a huge trend in the last 2 years here. While I see the international trend being coming back to one flash and shooting like straight in the face.
Yeah.
Like the local trend is being like, oh, we're going to multiple flashes. Which is something I kind of never do, but obviously if you have time, you can do this, you can do 1 flash, you can do 2 flashes, you can do no flash at all for 2 hours and still have like plenty of photos with from different techniques. So there's just so many ways for you to learn and actually gain actual experience while shooting clients' work. So that's what I encourage, like all of my fellow photographers, like for example, UK photographers that I know that are like staying until like maybe 3 songs in and they're out.
Yeah,
it's gone. And or like we did a couple of flash workshops with our friend Canadian Cole from Sweden. We did them in Sweden and Profoto headquarters. And there were like a bunch of photographers saying that they never get to shoot flash because they leave before it gets dark. And like, what? How is that even possible? Or as I was saying, they're like leaving like 2, 3 songs in, so you don't get to even, you know, experience, because like each venue, each place is going to be different, right? So it requires different attention for how to, let's say, bounce flash. How will I bounce flash? Oh no, the ceiling is like freaking 5, 6 foot or something like that. There's no way I can bounce. So what can do? So it's going to take at least for me, usually 2, 3 songs to get my setup working for that environment. So that's what I was getting into, that I do encourage photographers being like, hey, you want to learn flash, just stay 3 songs longer, just stay 10 songs longer. Like you have like free training ground and your clients will be extremely happy seeing you staying over the time that you're supposed to stay. You're learning, they're getting better pictures, they're seeing you as a hero who's staying longer. So that's, in my opinion, a perfect playground. So that was my playground for like majority of my years. Like, let's say, starting out as a wedding photographer, for the first couple of years, I was only shooting local weddings, traditional weddings. So each weddings I would stay until 1 a.m. So I'm pretty confident, like, what can I do with flash?
Yeah.
What is your approach?
My approach, so in the beginning, I came from concert photography. So we should also mention that you have a full course that goes through your entire process with this.
I do. It's called Flash Magic.
Flash Magic. I like that. That's a good name. So you can check out Magic's course if you want to get a little bit more into it and actually see settings and do a shoot. For I guess the way I came into weddings was through concerts, and in concert photography, I was shooting a lot of really crappy, dingy nightclubs. So I was very, very flash heavy. I knew more about off-camera flash than I knew about what a wedding day timeline looked like. That my skill set was in Photoshop. Yeah, my skill set was Photoshop because my first job was making graphics in Photoshop when I was like 12 for a video game, and then I knew a lot about off-camera flash thanks to, I think, the Strobist was like the big blog at the time.
It was a huge thing back in the day. It's coming back, like it's all coming back around and round and making rounds all the time. So at the end of the day, if you want to be wedding photographer shooting for at least a couple of years, you have to learn it all, and then just cycle.
That's the fun thing with weddings is that you have to. You're the most generalist, I think, of
So were you doing?
Genres.
Were you like doing the Strobist techniques at the clubs?
I think so. I took the bits and pieces that kind of worked. Again, it's like similar to a wedding that I would walk into like a basement club and I'd be like, how can I make these guys kind of look like rock stars? 'Cause they were usually my friends.
Yeah.
So if I was going into a new venue that I had never been to, it was because I probably went with the band. So it was really cool for like documentary style images as well, that you get to kind of do some photojournalism on the way, document the band. Maybe I'm on the bus with them or whatever. You get to the club and you kind of decide, do you work with the lighting or do you completely overpower the lighting and make your own light show?
Yeah.
A lot of the time I would rig up maybe like 3 flashes, and I would even like put them on truss. If there was like a truss, I would have super clamps, and I would make it look a lot more incredible usually than it was. So I took those skills to weddings, which was not necessarily a positive thing. My first few weddings, I stayed until the very end of the night, and I went very off-camera flash heavy to the point that I was like, oh, these photos look awesome. I'm so happy. But then I realized that they never really end up in the wedding album. So like those awesome off-camera flash shots with the flash right down the barrel with all kinds of flare and looking like a crazy party.
Yeah.
That photo, maybe 1 out of every 15 albums would end up. But then the most boring, generic black and white photo of the couple doing their first dance would always be in the album. And that, I think, kind of tuned me out of doing too much crazy off-camera flash work. And I realized that that was more exciting for me and not something that was actually a service to my couples. So at that point, I started dialing it back a little bit. And probably since like 2012, I've been a single flash person at weddings. I'll do, I would say, off camera if there's a problem to solve with it. But otherwise, I'm pretty much on camera for the entirety of the day. But I am never on the dance floor like you are. Do you want to talk through a little bit of how you actually use your flash when you are kind of part of that party scene?
Yeah. So usually there's like I would say that my evening is always divided like by these sections of how I approach the night and the dance floor while I'm shooting. I usually start what I call slow, because like during my weddings, I feel like most of weddings, they tend to start slower. Sometimes when there's like huge anticipation and like the speeches are going long and people are getting drunk, like the first song is going to be killer already. But usually it's like the party is growing, I would say. So usually the way I start is I bounce flash, basically. I bounce flash, or I use no flash at all if it's still bright or there's like plenty of light that I can use. Usually I have 2 cameras on me, so one is like completely no flash, and usually it has 51.2 on it, so I can get these boring black and white generic shots. And then the second one I would start with like 35 or 24 with a flash on a camera set to bouncing.
What does bounce mean for those that don't know? What does bouncing your flash mean?
Yeah, it does mean that you're not pointing the flash directly at the subject that you're shooting, but you're pointing it towards the surface that is becoming your new light source. So I don't know if you know that, but in my previous life, I've been a lighting designer.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Did you know that?
No, I did not know that. That's exciting.
Yeah. I actually designed a bunch of cool shopping malls here in Poland. I'll send you images so you can just show them here. The one that you're seeing right now, it's called Cloud of Dicks. That's how we called it, because it was like these lighting tubes that were like hanging off the ceiling in the shape of the cloud. But when we received them from factory, we designed them to look, because architects wanted a certain look. They just looked like... So I've been that in my previous life. So I was like very confident about how the light works, how the angles work, how the surfaces reflect lighting, what does what basically. So embossing flash for me is like this just first technique just to get this regular photo while using the light that ambient light that there is on the dance floor. So at most of my weddings, there is some sort of DJ light happening, like colorful light, and I try to incorporate that into the scene. When there's not. It's just more boring this way. So I do start with a bounce flash, meaning the flash not pointed directly, but to a big surface somewhere to the side, usually to the back top. When there's like a ceiling, when there's no ceiling, could be from the walls. When there's completely nothing, I do the technique that I called flash in the hand, which is off-camera flash, and then I use some sort of modifiers, lighting modifiers that I don't have on me, but yeah, you get it, just like bouncy things,
diffuser cup or
diffuser
like
things. Just to get this, not direct flash look, more like kind of side light coming. So that's gonna be like probably first dance and first songs when like I'm trying to get as many just nice photos of people dancing. Oh, parents are dancing, great. Oh, they look nice. They're like lit up correctly. Usually I use 35, so I get close. So what you said about me being on a dance floor, it does. I'm all the time on the dance floor, right? So when I start, I just get in and just move between from couple to couple, and I try to get as many portraits as I can of just like couples dancing, and then it does depend on like how the night goes. I might experiment a little bit, try if there's like some cool DJ lights, I'm gonna try maybe just use them. Backlit, maybe some flares happening. So I'm gonna just play around with the couple of techniques, and when the party gets crazy, then I move into party mode, and I direct flash at the face. I use a technique that I called flash in the face, which the regular name is dragging the shutter, which is the high f-stop, wide angle, flash directly at the face, higher f-stop, slow shutter. That's the last piece of the puzzle here. And I use 24 because I want to be close. I never focus. I focus with my eyes, kind of. So I'm like scanning I'm having fun. So something that you saw, like me just being on the dance floor having fun, and I see people doing something crazy. I'm gonna capture them. Oh, someone's spilling a drink. I'm gonna get close, capture a drink. So I'm not like being this guy who's just behind the camera and like just capturing like a creep. I'm more like okay, what's happening? Oh yeah, this is awesome. Oh, this is awesome. Yeah, and that's usually how the end nights, like probably it's gonna last for like, depending on the wedding. Like for, as you said, American weddings, they tend to end earlier, like midnight is the latest they go, so I stay until the very end, because for me, when I am in America for a wedding that's like a destination wedding or something, most of my weddings are destination weddings, so I do not limit the time. I just usually stay until the very end, unless it's going like way over midnight, like for some Italian weddings, if they like going you're really long, I just leave. But for the most times, I'm gonna stay long.
So talk me through a little bit of, do you use TTL? Do you use manual flash settings?
No.
You don't use either? Neither?
Yeah, neither. I just everything auto. So something that I feel like, since I've been teaching the flash workshop a couple times in real life, and I've been, I have the course online. So many people did approach me, like asking questions. I was talking with a lot of people, and I do see something like the camera, like we've seen huge shift in like camera development over the years, right? Yeah. And I think that like that shift make it so easy to shoot without knowing how to shoot. So there's a lot of photographers like that just use aperture priority, not thinking how the camera works. I personally use the aperture priority as well, but I used to shoot manual only everything for years. So I'm pretty confident with like all the like how to set your camera, manual mode, and so on. And I think that this is where it gets tricky, because when you mount the flash on a camera and you are using aperture priority or some like half auto settings or like something that you don't fully understand because it just works, then it stops working. Right, the flash just ruins everything. You like, unless you understand how it works and just start setting up exposure compensation, like it's never gonna work. So I personally shoot manual. Like when I put the flash on camera, I switch to manual everything. Not focus actually too. Which I might comment at the end if you. So my camera becomes like fully manual camera, including the focus.
That's very interesting. So you're doing basically zone focusing because you're at a high f-stop, so you have lots of depth of field. Yeah, you're like, really wide. Especially
like if I'm dragging the shutter, I'm at high f-stop with the very wide angle, so I can just lock my focus on a certain distance, and I just shoot distance base, and I have my flash set also to a certain power, which works also at a certain distance. So that's why when you look at my photos, like the party photos, for example, from the party that we've been at, like most of them is the same distance in all of these photos. So that's why I need to be close. That's why I need to be at the dance floor. I cannot shoot this way from from behind the column outside of the venue or something like
Unless
that.
I'm on the dance floor with the flash.
Yeah, this technique does require it. And the flash usually, like when you're shooting flash or, learning to shoot flash, and you always see, oh, it's not working, I can't see the light from flash. Usually that means that you're too far away. If you're bouncing flash and you see there's no results, usually it means you're far away. Like there's a certain distance that the light can go through. If I could give like a one tip, like for people struggling with a flash and like having situation, I think this is a very common situation. People shooting and being like, is the flash working? What the flash is doing in my photo? I'm not sure. Is that flashlight? Is that like a normal light here? Just set your flash power to maximum and then fire it up. And then you will see what actually the flash is in your picture, and then you can dial back from here. That's the first step of learning how the flash works. When you set up for maximum, you shoot. Then you set up for minimum, you shoot, and it's exactly the same photo. It means that the light doesn't even get there, right? It might be blocked somewhere. If you're bouncing, maybe it gets blocked behind, like in between the columns. Maybe it gets blocked through the ceiling. Something is blocking the flash. So like that's usually the first step to be like, oh, I get it now.
So you talked a lot about dragging the shutter. Basically, we've seen some examples on the screen where the lights get a little bit blurry behind. What is your usual? Is there a go-to shutter speed for that, or is it?
There's always a starting point. So there's like something between 1/5 and 1/15 of a second. It's a starting point. But yeah, I think the crucial aspect of like for this technique to work is to find the moments with your eyes, right? I've seen a lot of comments. Like recently, I've seen this reel, someone showing like, this is how I shoot dragging the shutter, and there's like millions of comments being like, oh, these photos, they never come out good. There's like one photo for every 100 photos that is good. So for me, it's like 99 photos out of 100 that are good. And I'm not bragging that I'm awesome or something, but I am. But it's just like the way I try to shoot. I click on the shutter when I see something in front of my eyes, and I know my camera is set for the certain distance, okay, which is usually like a 1 meter, 1.5 meters or something like that. Again, we know there's like high f stop. I know it's a 24 mil, so it's a wide angle lens, so I don't need to compose that much. I can be pretty sure that I'm gonna capture the moment when I just point the camera. So I'm just again scanning the moments with my eyes. I see, okay, something is happening here. I see, the moment. I wait for the moment. I click, bam. Maybe move the camera to get the lights, happening in the picture. Some crazy lights. Like for example, here's a nice picture of Mr. Ryan Muirhead from one of the parties. with the light. So this is, and also in the back of this photo, it says this. I got it signed from Ryan. It says, "This is the only picture of me dancing that it was captured." So yeah, and this was literally, he came, like he was at the party at one of the way up norths as well, and he was sitting in the corner all night, and he was like crossing through the dance floor. Someone put the wig on him or something like that, and he literally danced for like 10 seconds. But because I was there and I was aware of what's happening, and I was like, oh, I haven't seen Ryan at the dance floor yet. So I just like immediately jumped, snap a picture, and done. So like scanning with your eyes, being aware of what's going on, usually for like, because I'm, let's say, shooting the party for like 2-3 hours straight, I know which couples I've already shot tens of times because like they're crazy dancers and so on. And I know, for example, that I haven't seen a grandparents on the dance floor. So I'm like very aware of situation like this. If I'm going to see bride dancing with the grandparent, I usually then switch from the party mode to a bounce flash mode. So I get like the regular boring photo as well, because that's, you know, I feel like the party photos, they work when there's a party. When there's like a slow dance of, let's say, mom dancing with a dad, I'm not gonna be like, splash in the face. So I'll be switching techniques depending on what's going on. That's why usually the flash in the face technique is the last one at the party. I'm waiting for that moment. I'm waiting for that party to grow to the point that I can just play with that. Not with Way Up North party, because these are they just start and they just go crazy.
Yeah. So you've talked a lot about lens choice and that you're using flash, at least for that part of the day. What is your actual flash? What is the piece of gear that you use, and also what modifiers do you suggest? Do you suggest gels or diffusers or?
So I use Profoto. A 1X and a 10. I'm in love with these because they're just so simple to use. Like above everything else, I talk like when I talk about like how the technical aspect of like when you mount the flash, everything stops working and you don't know how to set things up. Like on top of that, all the flashes are made so you don't understand them. Like the way the flashes are made, like the screen, the information on the screen, the way that you just press the button, there's like plus 1/3, plus 2, like it's crazy. So like not only the whole camera stops working and like gives you weird results, on top of that, the whole system is like, for me, it's a failure. The system of flash units is just made for like 20 years ago when we were talking about the app. Now we don't. We are visual people now. Now we see on the screen how our image looks. We don't read the numbers anymore that much as we used to. And so that's the first thing that I love about Profoto Flash, because it just has a huge screen on the back with the number from 1 to 10, which is power. That's it. And there's like a scroll wheel, like iPod, and you go like 10, 1. It's easy, okay? And then when you want to do wide angle, there's a ring on the flash. You turn it, goes wide. You turn it the other way, it goes to narrow. So yeah, super easy. That's huge. But then it's just like, I think the Swedish technology and the build, like made in Europe, just. There's something about these flashes,
Well, they're the ones that everyone models after, right? That everyone that's producing.
All the Godoxes are just stolen designs of Profoto. But also, like I can always rely on them. So I can shoot 10 frames per second and they will always fire. Yeah, so I did a couple of these workshops when people had these like third-party Chinese flashes, and they would say that after 10 frames, they have to wait for them to, cool down or something like that. So there's like a bunch of these things that comes up when you buy lower quality stuff. And obviously, the light itself, I don't know if there's a difference. You could use like really cheap flash to achieve the same result. The user experience, that is something that I'm drawn into when I'm using Pro Photo flashes, the way I can just operate them and the way that they always work. Yeah, with modifiers, I actually used two. One is called soft bounce, which is this kind of like diffusion thing that makes your flash bigger. So whenever I use the flash in the hand technique, wait, maybe I'll show you, huh?
And if you're listening to the podcast, head on over to the YouTube video for the demonstration.
Oh yeah.
Of magic in his closet.
So for those of you who are watching, you can see from 1 to 10, how easy.
Get the ASMR.
You don't have to press the button and like whatever. And then the magnetic component. So this is the one that I use to when I use flash in the hand. Very simple. It makes the light source bigger, which is the goal. The bigger the light source, the softer the light. So this is the one. And then there's one that I use for like group shots at night. So if like a couple would ask me for a group shot or like a shot with an ankle and it's already dark or everything's outdoors, I take this bad boy, which is just this like little softbox umbrella thing that you mount your flash like this.
Oh, that's nice.
And it gives you the like studio looking images.
Little
group images,
2-3 foot softbox, and everything's magnetic and just like clips together.
Correct. And then the way it folds, look at this. I wish Profoto was paying me for this. It's not.
Oh wow! You just squeeze and it just closes up. That's always been my issue with softboxes. They're so annoying that like I freaking
where do
they go? Why are there all these sticks in them?
Exactly.
That's a good product. I haven't seen that before. I've seen that, but I've seen that
and you put
always
it in
extended.
This, and I had it like on the side of my.
Okay. What's that guy called?
Click Softbox Octa. That's the name of the product. Okay. There's 3 sizes.
That's so nice one.
So this is what I have with me because like I don't know if you know that about me, but I have zero ability, skills, and I don't have papers to drive a car. Right. Yes. So I might be the only destination wedding photographers, that have been doing this for 12 years without driving a car. That means that everywhere I travel, I just travel with my backpack. So I have to go light. So that's why I don't have 4 tripods that I with clamps around. That was like the primary reason that I have never gone into doing the off-camera flash because I'm not gonna be carrying this thing or putting that on plane. So I'm just a one backpack guy. I have one backpack and one tiny rolly bag for my clothes and stuff when I travel. But usually I show up with the one backpack on the wedding day, and that's it.
Amazing. So that leads into, this is going to be a 2-part podcast. So right now you've been listening to the flash section. And now we're actually going to go in and talk a little bit about destination weddings and your business, because I feel like your business model is very different from anyone else that I know. So stay tuned for next week. Magic's going to be back again, and we're going to talk all about destination wedding photography and photographing weddings that are just not at home.
I will. Thanks so much. Now I will change the clothes so
it
feels like it's next week.
Okay. We don't have to change clothes. I'll just fix it in post.
Oh yeah, do it in post. Make my orange.
And if you're interested in getting Magic's flash course, Flash Magic, Magic Flash, there's a link down below and you can go check that out.
How about we do a code Taylor?
Do you want a Taylor code? Okay.
Yeah, put code Taylor and you'll see what happens. Okay. I don't know what happens. I'm going to set it up later. So for now, I don't know what you get with the code Taylor, but you get something.
Mystery code. I like it.